Welcome again. Ukrainian troops in the front line are using U.S. long-range ballistic missiles against Russia. Pentagon spokesperson Lieutenant Colonel Garen Garn confirmed the weapons were secretly provided by the United States, adding that they were not announced publicly to maintain Ukraine's operational security. It was delivered to Ukraine earlier this month as part of a previous U.S. support package. Further U.S. aid are underway to Kyiv. The Biden administration had resisted sending the long-range missiles in part because of readiness concerns. The powerful missiles require time and complex components to produce. Last fall, the U.S. first sent Ukraine the mid-range variant of the missiles, which can reach about 100 miles, while the longer-range version can reach as far as 190 miles. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden has signed the long-awaited $95 billion aid package to support allies, including Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. Reacting to the package, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said, "Now we will do everything to make up for half a year spent in debates and doubts." Speaking at the White House on Wednesday after signing the bill, Mr. Biden said it will make the world safer and that it will help the benefiting countries defend themselves against threats to their soil. The United States is expected to start sending weapons and military equipment to Ukraine as soon as possible.
Law, the national security package that was passed by the House of Representatives this weekend and by the Senate yesterday. It's going to make America safer. It's going to make the world safer. And it continues America's leadership in the world, and everyone knows it. It gives vital support to America's partners, and so they can defend themselves against threats to their sovereignty and to the lives and freedom of their citizens. And it's an investment in our own security, because when our allies are stronger, and I want to make this point again and again, when our allies are stronger, we are stronger. I'm grateful to all those in Congress, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, who voted for this bill. It's a path to my desk. It was a difficult path. It should have been easier, and it should have gotten there sooner. But in the end, we did what America always does. We rose to the moment. We came together, and we got it done. For months, while MAGA Republicans are blocking aid, Ukraine has been running out of artillery shells and ammunition. Meanwhile, Putin's friends keeping him well supplied. Iran sent him drones. North Korea has sent him ballistic missiles and artillery shells. China is providing components and know-how to boost Russia's defense production. With all this support, Russia has ramped up its airstrikes against Ukrainian cities and critical infrastructure, rained down munitions on brave Ukrainians defending their homeland. And now, America is going to send Ukraine the supplies they need to keep them in the fight. I'm making sure the shipments start right away. In the next few hours, literally the few hours, we're going to begin sending in equipment to Ukraine for air defense munitions, for artillery, for rocket systems, and armored vehicles. You know, this package is literally an investment, not only in Ukraine's security, but in Europe's security, in our own security. We're sending Ukraine equipment from our own stockpiles. Then we'll replenish those stockpiles with new products made by American companies here in America.
And before the vote, I give the floor to the United States.
Meanwhile, Russia has vetoed a resolution at the UN Security Council calling on all countries to prevent an arms race in outer space. The draft resolution put forward by the US and Japan seeks to reaffirm a principle already set out in the 1967 Outer Space Treaty. The U.S. believes that Russia is developing a space-based anti-satellite nuclear weapon. Russia insists it's firmly committed to the existing treaty, but wonders why the U.S. voted against its amendment, calling on a ban of weapons of any kind in space, not just nuclear armaments.
We have only begun to understand the catastrophic ramifications of a nuclear explosion in space. How it could destroy thousands of satellites operated by countries and companies around the world and wipe out the vital communications, scientific, meteorological, agricultural, commercial, and national security services we all depend on.
I shall put the draft resolution to a vote now. Will those in favor of the draft resolution contained in document S/2024/302 please raise their hands. Those against? Abstentions? The results of the voting is as follows. 13 votes in favor, 1 votes against, 1 abstention. So passes. The draft resolution has not been adopted owing to the negative vote of a permanent member of the Council.
And so today's veto begs the question, why? Why, if you are following the rules, would you not support a resolution that reaffirms them? What could you possibly be hiding? It's baffling and it's a shame.
Adopting this draft resolution would have been a positive and a practical contribution to the promotion of peaceful use and exploration of outer space. If adopted, we could have demonstrated our unity in reaffirming the principle of no placement of any weapons of mass destruction in outer space and in opposing the development of such capabilities.
If Security Council members from Western countries would just now have been pounding their chest talking about their commitment to keep outer space peaceful, are really ready to reaffirm this, not in word but in deed, we are ready to give them another chance. That is why we will be submitting shortly an alternative draft resolution to the Security Council.
Лекции про опасность применения ядерного.
Well, the VOA's Anna Chernikova joins us now from Kyiv. Anna, great to see you today. Let's start, from the beginning. Ukrainian officials have been asking the U.S. for the long-range missiles to target deeper behind Russian lines. Now, it's finally here, and frontline troops have begun using it. Does this mean the soldiers were optimistic about getting the weapons in the first place?
Good evening. Yes, for sure. Ukrainian soldiers in the recent, in couple of recent addresses that we that went public, and that also we've heard when talking to Ukrainian soldiers, basically most of them were saying that they are ready to fight even if there is no weapon. So they're not gonna give up or they're not gonna stop fighting. But now, with the approval of the U.S. Aid package, a new aid package, they will have what to fight with, and definitely they see it as a very optimistic and inspiring moment, because having really good equipment, good ammunition, and enough of those is what makes the difference, and this is what definitely will make could make a change, let's put it this way, at the battlefield, at least according to Ukrainian military and the soldiers who are at the front line. This will make a difference, because until this point, for a couple of months, Ukrainian soldiers were holding the defense positions where they could. In some areas, they had to go backwards and let Russian forces occupy more territories, because it was they had not enough capacity to remain at the defense lines. But in some areas, they kept the defense lines unchanged. So they believe that new aid package and equipment and ammunition that will come with it will definitely help them to change the situation in the battlefield.
And they must have been undergoing trainings to use the weapons, correct? We know President Biden was skeptical about sending them, citing readiness concerns.
At this point, we don't have a particularly, confirmed or announced public information that certain training took place. I think that it probably took place at least instructions or something like this, because of course we understand that some weapons that a Ukrainian army is receiving and Ukrainian soldiers are using is something new for Ukraine. So Ukrainian army did not have this kind of equipment and ammunition before, and probably some of those needs to be, so people need to be trained or at least instructed how to use. Of course, well, if we're talking about F-16, we all know, and this is public information and well-known information, that Ukrainian soldiers are undergoing the training. But in terms of other equipment, well, probably yes. But again, particularly if we're talking about the long-range missiles, this is something that, probably that already the instructions have been already done when first of those arrived to Ukraine.
And are there concerns that the long-range missiles could be used to strike inside Russian territory, that's aside the front line and the battlefield, maybe provoking a wider conflict?
According to information that which is available and that was announced by the allies and by the Ukrainian officials as well, this particular missiles, if we're talking about ATACMS, for instance, supposed to be used only on the territory of the sovereign Ukrainian territory. And so we're talking about occupied territories, Crimea, and all the Ukrainian territory which is under Russian control at this point. It looks like Ukrainian army is using Ukrainian drones and Ukrainian missiles that are available to strike the territory of Russia. So at this point, we cannot say if new long-range missiles provided by the allies will be used. But according to preliminary preliminary discussions and what was announced, they should not be used on the territory of Russia. But again, we will see.
And how are Ukrainians reacting to the U.S. aid package?
Well, definitely optimistic and positive. Reaction is, people are saying, I talked to people on the streets and to quite a lot of people, and everyone is saying that it was such a long awaited decision, and people feel optimistic and people feel safer because they say that, well, Ukrainian army will now have enough equipment, or at least more equipment to first of all keep the defense lines and also to protect the cities, because we're not only talking about long-range missiles or additional ammunition for the front line, for the equipment mostly used at the front line, like artillery, for example, but we're also talking about air defense systems. And air defense systems is something that the whole territory of Ukraine needs to be protected. And we know that, unfortunately, and this was also reported by the military officials, not only Ukrainian but also allies, that some, for example, thermal power plants on the territory of Ukraine were destroyed because Ukraine had not enough air defense missiles to protect them. So Ukrainians are hopeful that this would change, and that cities, even those cities, especially those cities far from the front line, will be more protected. If we're talking about areas next to the front line, as well, because definitely this package is seen by the Ukrainian society as a life-changing and as something that can actually turn the situation at the front line at this point, and especially in repelling the future new offensive, which is expected in the beginning of summer.
And Moscow, the news of the latest aid package by the U.S. Senate must have shaken Russia. Anna, what's the situation on ground in the last 24 hours since the announcement was made?
Well, at this point, I cannot say that anything about increased shelling or increased drone attacks or missile attacks. However, during the day today, April 25th, here in Kyiv, and it was not only in Kyiv, it was across Ukraine. The air raid alarm was heard at least 5 times. So, and according to the information from Ukrainian military and particularly Air Force, this is MiG air jets, Russian MiG air jets, were in the air. What does this mean? This means usually what happened after such actions by the Russian jets, that it could be that Russian forces prepare for a new attack, for new shelling, because previously when there were days that these MiG air jets were in the air so often, a couple of times during the day. This was done by the Russian forces for the intelligence, or to transfer these jets to different air bases in order to prepare for the attack. So we will keep our eye on that. We will be following that, but at this point, no additional shelling or nothing extraordinary. So Russian forces just continue to shell particular areas more, particular areas less. If we're talking about Kyiv, the last attack on Kyiv was a couple of days ago, but again, it was nothing extraordinary. So we will see.
Right, Anna, thanks again, and please do stay safe.
Thank you.